Hey guys, Alchemist here. In today's video, we're going to be recapping this trade that I took on the 16th of March, this short on AUD USD, and make sure you stick around to the end just so I can show you the overall statistics of the FTMO challenge that I've just undertaken. And now let's just clear all of the drawings on the chart and we'll start off with a blank weekly chart. So on the weekly, we have this here as our supply zone that we tapped into. And in terms of demand, we had this zone here as our demand zone, which flipped this previous supply. And you can see we haven't actually closed below it at this point. We have wicked below, but we haven't had a body close below. So this demand has not therefore yet failed. If this does fail, we can see that price may be seeking these buy to sell wicks here and to fill in all of this imbalance. But this hasn't yet occurred and we don't need to have this on our charts. We remain systematic and just mark out what we need to. So this is that demand. And this is the supply that is currently, that price had currently tapped into. So on the weekly, that's all we need to do. We jump down to the daily time frame. On the daily, we have a very, very large range. So at this point here was our daily boss. And of course, the highest point above there is going to be our daily high. And then we needed to wait for a bullish pullback of at least 110 pips to confirm the low. So at this point here, we set our daily low. Again, that's all that we need to be doing on the daily. We don't need to be marking out POIs on the daily here. This is that weekly demand and this is the weekly supply. And we'll go down to the 4 hour. Just going to push this out a little bit here. Now our 4 hour boss was from here when this low here failed with the body close. Meaning, of course, the highest point above is going to be our 4 hour high. And that leaves our daily low to also be our 4 hour low as well. Just going to make this a solid line so that it matches the other one. Beautiful. All right, so this here is going to be our 4 hour range. We can drop our premium and discount. And we can start to look at some zones within here. So we can see we had these buy to sell wicks here, which actually led to the 4 hour breakout structure. And we can see we hadn't yet wicked above them. And we have this POI to the top of this wick here as well. And we can be seeing that all of the lower zone here, this can be inducement used for the zone above. So liquidity to be swept at this point here. Then of course we have the completely unmitigated section all the way up the extreme. And then we can see this would have tapped into the whole wick. And then the last point there, which is yet to be mitigated, would be the body of this candle because the wick here does tap this wick. So in terms of supplies, they're the suppliers that we'd be looking at. And then obviously this is all imbalance. Looking to the low here, we can see that this here was swept. And we can see this here as a demand when we set a higher high, which does get mitigated there. Again, we have a very, very large demand zone here. So we can be taking this whole demand zone, pushing it out to here. You can see how then we have these buy to sell wicks, which has mitigated that, which again has been mitigated there. And then essentially price does come into this unmitigated body of this candle, which then gives us a reaction back up. In terms of supplies from here, when we tapped into this, we did set this as a nice supply. Very nice POI, mostly engulfed and a lot of imbalance and impulse leaving the zone as well, which is something we like to see. We have these interaction buy to sell wicks with that interacted with this wick here, and price has just closed above that there. So this could potentially be building a demand chain. Okay, we haven't yet set a higher high, so it's not really a demand chain just yet. So I won't be marking it out, but we can see that price may be pushing down, pushing further up into this zone. Whether or not we sweep this 4 hour buy to sell wicks, we didn't really know at the time. Price has come a little bit higher since then. So if you are following the current market, you'll know that price is quite a bit higher and then it's come all the way back down. So it's in quite a good spot now. The last month or so hasn't really been the best price action to be following at all, to be honest. And I'll show you all my FTMO statistics and how little I traded over the last month. And it's a common theme as well in the trading community at the moment. A lot of other professional traders that I know didn't take a lot of trades over the past month at all. And it's good to see that that's been consistent across people who are more experienced as well. It's very tempting to be looking to trade every single day, but with experience comes just knowing when not to be entering the market. So we can get rid of this. They're really all the zones that we need to be placing on the 4 hour. And we'll go down to the 15 minute. With the 15 minute, we did also have a very, very large range. The low was, no, it was this one here. This was our 15 minute breakout structure. So the highest point above there is going to be our 15-minute high. And then once we came down here and then gave a bullish pullback greater than 22 pips, we then set our 15-minute low. So in terms of premium discount, I might just put it on this side just to keep the charts a bit neater. It's going to be from here to here. So we're not really interested in all the zones within here. We're interested in the zones within this leg here. So looking at this, we do need to see whether these zones have interacted. So I will just keep that part of the charts there for now. This is the 4-hour supply. I might just minimize that down or refine it to this 15-minute candle. And then here we had this as a demand zone, which then creates a supply here. And then we have this whole wick. Okay, that gets mitigated there. Then we can take the unmitigated portion of it as well. See if this gives us a reaction. A lot of this was just really weak price action. What I was interested in is this very large supply wick, which swept a ton of liquidity. Okay, so we'll draw that out to the left. This is actually where we took the trade. Again, you can see a lot of that has been mitigated, so we can just take it to the unmitigated section of it. And again, here this would have been in demand zone, which this large wick then mitigates. Here we had a sweep. You can see all the wicks below. And then all the way at the extreme here where the low that actually broke the 15-minute boss. You can see here as well, we do have interaction. Then we have this full body candle here as well, acting as a supply. Which again, at this point was still only just swept. And then here we broke above. So this point here was just a sweep. And then when we have a body close above, that's when the supply fails. I'm just going to minimize it here so we can draw the demand zones. Then of course, we're going to have the extreme. And we have this candle here, and I'll take the bottom of this wick. This is yet to be mitigated at this point. And we can see it's got a ton of liquidity or inducement above it as well. After interacting here, we have this zone, which has swept liquidity below these lows. We have this as a chain as well. We have all of this as trendline liquidity. In terms of order flow, at this point here, we did switch bullish order flow on the 15-minute. Okay, and we hadn't yet switched bearish in our order flow at all. For us to switch bearish, we would need to see this low fail. Okay, with the body close on the 15-minute. So our order flow is bullish. However, our structure is bearish. Our overall 4-hour structure is also bearish, and we're expecting the 4-hour low to fail because it is a targeted low, which failed to set a higher high. And we have now actually come into premium of the 15-minute range. So ideally, the best trade to take would be a short after 15-minute order flow switched bearish. But even with bullish order flow at this point, it's very, very nice to be taking a short from premium when our structure is bearish, as then likely within our trade is what's going to cause that bearish choke. And sometimes waiting for that whole 15-minute order flow to align with structure means that you'll miss the actual move. So at this point here, once price did tap into this zone, I was looking for shorts. And we can see here, this is actually the last demand zone that pushed price above and created this new high. So the overall target was quite small in this one. I think it was a total of 5.75R, which is more than significant, more than enough. It's more than what our weekly target is with taking partials. I believe it ended up as 5.31, but we'll do the calculation at the end, and I'll actually show you the executed trade on MT5. I'll put the slip up in a moment, and I'll also show you on FTMO's website, so make sure you do stick around to the end. So now once price has tapped into here on the 15-minute, we can go down to the 1 minute and try to look for an entry. Again, you do need to be waiting. If you're a part of the course, you'll know that you need to wait for a specific order of liquidation models to occur. I'm not going to be going into that here, but it has occurred at this point, and then we do still need to wait for a 1 minute bearish chock down. So here when we had this candle trading lower, This one here trades lower than the black mother candle. This here would be the low that we'd need to see fail for our change character. Now this, I can get rid of this. This was just showing you where the 15-minute bearish chop down would be. And this is that 15-minute demand. So looking at this, I actually refined it to this on the 1 minute to be my overall target, knowing that this here, there was a big push out. So a lot of imbalance here, a lot of impulse. So price could potentially be holding here to push higher into premium of that 15-minute range. So this was my overall target for this trade. So now we first need to see if we do get a bearish chock down here. We do. And looking at this, I actually missed the first entry because I didn't have my trade assistant ready in time to execute. This did happen pretty quickly. I'll show you, it's probably the next 2 candles is when it taps back into this zone. So this here would be that flip, and I would be taking 25% of it. And because this flip here doesn't sweep liquidity and doesn't have inducement, I'd be wanting to cover the high of the actual chock, so up here as well. So let's just have a look. If I change this down to 25%, play this here, and I'd probably play this with a 2.8 pip, or if you did want to push it up a little bit so that you could cover it just with a 2.5, that's up to you. It comes down to you. Like if you, when you join the course, in the risk management section, I go through all of this so that you know exactly how much you should be risking, your overall targets, and how to structure how many bullets you have for the day, or how many opportunities you allow yourself to enter the market, just to make sure that you can manage your max drawdown if you are doing funded challenges or anything like that. Or even if you're not doing a challenge, you don't want your account to be dipping too far into drawdown on a daily, on any one day, because that can negatively affect your whole mood and everything else, which will therefore affect your performance negatively. So there is a trade to be taken straight from here. Okay, let's in this case here say that I was going to play it with a 3 pip stop loss. I didn't take this one. I'll show you the one that I actually did take. And then price comes back up pretty quickly. Okay, and I didn't actually have time to execute this quick enough on my trader system. Something to keep in mind as well, guys, is especially if you're doing FTMO challenges or anything like that, make sure you're checking the price on the broker, not executing it on your MT4 or MT5 as per TradingView, because in this particular situation, I think there was a difference of 0.6 pips of where the actual POI was. So you don't need to, like, it's good to set it here so you can see here. Obviously 25% is at 66597, but that might not necessarily correlate exactly with what it looks like on TradingView. So sorry, on MetaTrader or whatever platform you're trading on. So make sure that you actually set your limits as per your broker, not as per TradingView. It'd be really good if you did have one of the brokers that has a direct feed to TradingView. That will make life a lot simpler, but FTMO currently doesn't. So that would be the first one there, and you'd be targeting the low. I missed this trade, so because of that, what I was looking to take was a conservative entry. So I was going to wait to see if price does go down to set a new lower low to enter off of the newly created supply zone. And that does happen here. So once here, price created a lower low, and in this case, it doesn't need to be a body close. It's just even just with a wick, but the next couple of candles do have a body close below the next candle. So you can see that there. And then looking at this here, what I was looking at was this wick here still had a portion which was unmitigated, being this section here. And so price could potentially be reaching for that. But there is also this wick, and potentially price won't come all the way to the unmitigated section of the upper wick. So again, I had to make sure that I was checking as per TradingView as to what exactly it was. And I will just unhide the actual short position just so I can get the exact price there. Yeah, so it was at 588, and I'll put up the MT4 stat here, slip, so you can see that executed as per what I'm showing you here. So it hasn't yet occurred. It's now that this low has been set, I put my limit here. Again, this was about 25% of this wick on my MetaTrader 5, not on TradingView, and I was making sure that I cover the top of this wick by 0.3 plus spread, something else you really need to be careful of, and make sure you learn how to actually account for that spread in your actual limits and your stop losses. So here was where I was looking to enter. Price has pushed down quite a lot. At this point, I was a little bit worried. I thought maybe price wouldn't be coming back for us, but I also could see that this could potentially be inducement for price to then create more liquidity for the next push down. So thankfully, in my case, that was the case. Price comes back up, tagged me in very nicely. So I did not take this one. I did take this one here. And this was with a 2.8 stop loss, sorry, 2.8 pip stop loss after spreads. And so I'll just see where 4 hours. Again, you can see the partial taken in the MT5 slip here. And then overall TP was there at 27. Perfect. So it did come back up. At this point here, I put my charts away. The worst thing you can do is try to baby your trade and monitor it too much. If you do really need to stay at your charts, maybe go up to the 15 minutes so you're not seeing every single 1 minute candle form. But the best thing to do, especially if you've got a software like Trade Assistant or Magic Keys, which is automatically going to take your partials for you, set those limits where it will be AUD USD partial taken or AUD USD stop loss hit, and go and do something else. The worst thing you do, the biggest mistakes occur when people keep watching this, seeing price go against them, cut a winner too short, or let a loser, if they increase their stop loss and be like, no, I really think it's going to hold here, or add to their stop loss. That's probably the worst thing you can do. So make sure that you don't do that and you remain systematic in whatever you do. So at this point here, it did take a little while and I got really close to my partials, but then it pushed back up. And then at this point, partials were taken in the span of 35 minutes. And this was a London session trade. So this was at 7:30. And at the time, London Open was at 7 p.m. Sydney time. And it closes at exactly 9 p.m. So it was an hour and a half trade. Pushes back up, gets very close, and then eventually does come and tap. So at this point here, you can also see all of this is just creating liquidity. That's why when that next candle pushes down, liquidity to be swept. You can see here there was no resistance because we had orders to take here in terms of people's stop losses when they were taking longs after coming into this 15-minute demand. So the next candle here is where TP was hit for a total of 5.75, and I will just grab the calculator. Pretty sure it was 5.31, but we'll just do it again. So 75% of 5.75 is 4.31 plus 1R, which is the 25% partial at 4R. So this trade here was 5.3125, if you want to be very specific, R in 1.5 hours. Beautiful. So this was the trade here. We will now be jumping onto FTMO's website to confirm everything for you and to show you how the whole challenge went. If you do have any questions, please do let me know. Make sure you're following me on Instagram as well to see the next challenge and how it goes. So yes, I am getting a free repeat. I didn't make the profit target in time because of the price action over the past month, but no excuses. I'm ready to go again. I've taken one trade on the new account, which was a valid loss, and tomorrow's a new day. London Open will be an hour earlier from tomorrow as well, which is really good because I do prefer trading London. I just hate having to wait till 7 p.m. to trade, especially that I'm up at around 5 a.m. every morning going to the gym. So I was hoping to be able to trade Asia, but the past month or so, Asia has not been providing the best opportunities, which is okay. We just need to adapt and overcome. So let's see how this next challenge goes. If you have any questions about this trade in particular, let me know in the comments below. And let me know as well if there is anything else that you'd like me to cover on this channel. Otherwise, let's jump onto FTMO so I can show you the challenge there as well. Okay, so looking here at the FTMO challenge, you can see the status of it here has ended. So it ended on the 21st of March. It was actually the 22nd in Australia's time zone. And you can see here, so that I did pass these three, and then the profit target, I didn't quite make, obviously, the 13,000. I got very close to making 5%. And what FTMO does is if you're up 5% with 3 days left to go, they give you an additional 2 weeks to make the additional 5%. So these last two trades that you'll see here was me trying to get to that 5% to get to the, just to get a fortnight extension rather than having to do a whole new month, but that was unsuccessful. And so they were still valid trades and everything. I wasn't going against any plan or anything like that at all, but these two trades did not work out. This trade here is the one that we just reviewed. So this one here was that sell that we took on the 16th of March. And if we look here as well, the number of trades, the lots, you can see everything here. The win rate was 47%. So it's not 100% accurate in the sense because there are partials being taken. And you can see here as well, there are very little trades that I took with 0.01 lots just to make sure that I actually do get to that 10 minimum trading days objective. Just because the market hasn't been providing great setups over the past month, I did just execute those 0.01 lots just to make sure that I didn't fail the challenge just because I didn't have enough trading days there. So again, everything you can see as well with the MyFX book link. So yep, this is how the challenge went. I did get a free repeat. And if we go back, you can see here, this is the new one. And I will be linking this one up to my FX book as well. And this one here just started on the 23rd of March, the next day after the other one ended, and will end on the 21st of April. I've only taken one trade on this account, and it was a loss 2 days ago, I believe, or on the 23rd, and I haven't taken a trade since. So hopefully tomorrow provides some new opportunities, and I will be making sure to share everything with you guys along the journey as well, so that you can see this for yourself. If you guys are also taking a challenge, please let me know in the comments below and let me know how you're going. If you're new to this channel and you're not currently subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe if you are taking some value away from this, and leave a comment below as to what you'd like to see in the future. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great weekend, and I look forward to speaking to you all next weekend.